The Mafia Members Podcast.
Where else would you rather be than right here, right now?
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the show. We're going to do a little pregame talk here before the Bills game, Bills Jets. We are happy to have with us. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Hate First Sports on Twitter, and introduce us where we can find you, your shows, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me on. Really excited about all this. So like you said, you can find me on X and YouTube at Hate First Sports. Same username for both. We're about 45 followers away from 5,000 on X, so exciting little milestone coming up. But yeah, excited to get into it.
Nice. How did you get started, and how did you come up with the name Hate First Sports?
So I got started and came up with the name for the same reason. Years of pent up frustration and anger following the Jets and Mets primarily. I feel like each year both teams give me a reason to stop being a fan of them, but I keep coming back every year. So I needed X as like an outlet to kind of vent frustration. So I'm happy that it's grown to be as big as it has been. I wasn't expecting it, but yeah, looking to continue to expand the brand and appear on more shows. So again, appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. Awesome. Excited to get into it. So before we start talking about the game that's coming up here and kickoffs in about an hour, what did you think of kind of your off season? Obviously, you guys got the new coach. Fields coming in. So how do you think the off season went, and then how do you think like your week one against Pittsburgh went?
Yeah. So, I mean, the off season, I've had a lot of off seasons like that where, new coach coming in, new general manager coming in. So with the new regime, I feel like most teams' expectations is that they come in and then they're much better right away. For me, I've kind of taken like a cautiously optimistic approach to the Jets now where, I would love for them to be good again, but just kind of taking a wait and see approach. And then, going into week one, I feel like a lot to take away from that game. I was really impressed with the offense primarily. I thought that a lot of people were doubting Fields, his arm talent, his ability to be a starting quarterback. And I was just kind of in a wait and see mode. And I feel like I came away from that game really excited. And I feel like if he can keep it up, then he might be, the starter.
Yeah. No. In Buffalo, we were definitely not strangers to new coaches, new quarterbacks, new everything. We had a long stretch there, and it's crazy to think back about those days now that we've had 7 years of consistency. And I was talking about it on a show last night too. I feel like consistency and being able to keep the same guys in the room, same kind of core guys, is probably the most important thing in building sustained success, right? So, hopefully we, like I said, Bills fans have been there where you buy the hype of your next draft pick and you buy the hype of your new coach, and so it's got to be exciting when you think that it is coming all together, and then you see the week one performance that Fields did look like he was pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the questions for the Jets are on like the secondary mostly, and the defense. I mean, they needed a 60-yard field goal to win the game. So hats off to Boswell for hitting that. But even to get into that position, I feel like special teams and defense put us in that position and allowed Rodgers to throw it all over the map. So, but yeah, offense, I think this is like the first time that I've been excited about a Jets offense since like Ryan Fitzpatrick and Brandon Marshall were the dynamic duo. So I'm just glad that hopefully this wasn't like an outlier, and they can repeat this performance. And I feel like the Bills are a great test. I mean, another this is a Super Bowl contending team. So if they can repeat it against this team, then I feel like they have the game plan for most of them.
Yeah, absolutely. How was the reaction in New York to kind of some of the stuff after the game from Aaron Rodgers, and seeing him obviously win the game, but like kind of his attitude toward the Jets after what was a very I took it, I'm not even a Jets fan, and I took it a little bit personally, like, hey man, the team went out there, they signed you for these 2 years, they paid you all this money, you didn't really do anything for them. I don't understand where the hate is coming from. So I don't know if that like is shared in the Jets organization, or like how did you guys feel about it?
It pissed me off. I hated seeing him look so good against the defense, but particularly the post game comments, like saying that he's happy to beat everybody involved in the Jets organization. Like, I think he is bitter about getting released, and I feel he feels like he has a chip on his shoulder now. But the fact that he's like bitter towards the Jets organization, like they brought him in, they brought in all of his buddies, they brought in Nat Hackett, who's like the worst offensive coordinator I've ever seen in my life. Like, brought him in because they're buddies. Brought in like Randall Cobb, who was like washed at that point. Like they bent over backwards for him, and I feel like Robert Saleh was put in a bad position too, where he kind of had to keep Rodgers happy more than anything. And it was just kind of like a diva attitude. And like, I feel like Jets fans were really excited because, he's 4-time MVP, and then he didn't perform. So, we didn't sign you for everything that you did in the past. We signed you so that you can, be the guy for at least a few years and get us back to the playoffs. And you didn't do that. So I don't know what's there to be bitter about. Maybe the fresh start in Pittsburgh is what he needed to, kind of close the curtain on his career. So, I hope he does good, and I hope that, he got the win that he wanted against the Jets, and now both sides can finally move on permanently.
Yeah, no, I was shocked. Like, that you always hear it's a revenge game, and it's it's a just because the guy's playing his old team. I really didn't think that he would have this much like hatred towards you guys, because like I said, I really didn't feel like it was that crazy what like went down between you guys. So when he was talking like that, I was like, this guy's insane.
Yeah. I mean, he's just like a weird person as it is. As like the documentary came out about him last year. He's doing the darkroom stuff, and as a Jets fan, I was like buying into it when we first signed him. I'm like, oh, this guy's great. Like, but now it disgusts me. So
Alrighty, so let's get into a little bit for the game that's coming up here. So for you guys, what did you like that your offense was doing in week 1, and what do you like, and trying to get carried over into the game against Buffalo today?
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, a lot to love about the offense in week 1. And I feel like things that definitely need to carry over into week 2. Breece Hall, I think, played his best game since he tore his ACL a few years back. In week 1, he was hitting the holes hard. He was, he had over 100 yards. He looked great. He was averaging over 5 yards a carry. So I really, if the Jets want to be successful against Buffalo today, he needs to continue to, have this like renaissance season and break out some long runs. Another thing, the offensive line of the Jets needs to have a repeat performance. The rookie Membu was I think I saw he was the highest rated offensive lineman in all of football in week 1, like not just rookies, like everyone. He kind of neutralized TJ Watt, which is, not an easy assignment for your first game in the NFL. But so he needs to continue. We got Olu on the left tackle. Just need to contain the Buffalo defensive line and, allow Justin Fields to kind of see the field and, make decisions whether he wants to run it, throw it. So that's all much easier to do when you don't have defenders in your face every day.
Yeah.
So those are just a couple.
Yeah,
of things
that's kind of the main thing for them, I think, is just building on what doing everything that they did last week and just kind of, carrying it over and just kind of keep building, at least on the offensive side of the ball. I've kind of been thinking that you guys are like a Ravens style team with a mobile quarterback, a run first offense, but you still have Garrett Wilson on the outside. And you can mix in the effectiveness of Breece Hall and Braylon Allen, and get even more out of those guys with a guy like Garrett Wilson. So what did you think of the Fields to Wilson connection, or what do you think the Fields to Wilson connection has to be like in a game today?
Yeah, so I love the Fields to Wilson connection. I mean, wearing my new Garrett Wilson jersey now, he's my favorite player on the Jets, probably my favorite player in football. And I'm an Ohio State fan for college football, so I watched them in college, saw the connection, and then I'm really excited that they immediately got back on track in week one. I mean, I think he had like 95 yards and a touchdown in week one. So Justin Fields clearly still, they still have that chemistry. And I, want to see that build in week two. And I feel like the thing I don't want to see from Justin Fields is force feeding him. I feel like what worked in week one was that the run was established, and it gave Justin Fields a clean pocket to kind of find Garrett Wilson on those routes, and especially that touchdown, that deep touchdown. So definitely want to see their connection continue to grow and be, hopefully become one of the premier ones in football.
Yeah, right on. Okay, so we'll flip sides then to the defense. Obviously, stopping the Bills' offense is a bit of a problem. We saw last week in that crazy game the switch over, or like how fast they can turn it on, and in the fourth quarter they get all these yards and score all these points. So, and the Jets are kind of known as always having a good defense. So what do you think? What does the defense have to do today to be successful against the Bills offense?
So just basing it off of previous Jets and Bills games, the week one game from a few years ago, they forced Allen to make mistakes, and he had 3 picks, and then the Jets ended up winning on that crazy punt return. But just getting pressure on him early and often and forcing him to make mistakes. He's gotten much better the last few years. He used to have a lot of turnovers on top of the touchdowns, but lately he's been really good about minimizing turnovers. So the Jets really need to make him uncomfortable and disturb his flow and, force him into erroneous throws and potentially turnovers. So I think that is a key to the defense, especially since the Jets' strength is up front and not in the secondary. I feel like they're lacking badly in the secondary. And if they can't get pressure on Josh Allen, then he's going to expose them.
Yeah.
Quickly.
Did you see? I don't know if there's any truth to it. Did you see the report that the Jets apparently had offered Dallas Quinnen Williams in a Micah Parsons trade?
I saw that. The report was that they were fine to give away Quinnen Williams and 2 firsts for Micah, but then they didn't want to pay Micah what he wanted for an extension, which I think that's crazy. Like I obviously Micah is one of the best players in football. Like he's proved that in the 2 games in Green Bay. He wrecks games. But I love Quinnen Williams. Like I feel like he played a great week one, and I'm assuming that all this happened before week one. But he looked great week one. He was getting pressure up the middle. Yeah. He was getting to Rodgers. He was stuffing the run. Like the Steelers basically had no run game, and largely because of him. So I'm glad that fell through. I mean, obviously having Micah on the defense would be awesome. But I think
do you think Quinnen is your best D lineman?
He's definitely our best interior defensive lineman for sure. I feel like he has all pro potential. I feel like if he can get through this year, not getting hurt, he has a chance to be like the all pro defensive tackle. Mm-hmm. Like that's how highly I think of him. I really like our edge rushers, Jermaine Johnson coming off the Achilles tear. He looked good in week 1, and then Will McDonald looked really good. Got 2 sacks in week 1 on Rodgers. So I think that's I think we have a really good front.
Yeah. I think like for us going up against you guys, I think that's going to be the challenge for us is how do we design plays that we can kind of, have a little bit of misdirection so we can kind of get you guys, moving the wrong way, or because I think like you said, I think the front 7 is really what we have to worry about. There's some holes kind of in the secondary there. And, if we can find ways to get around the front 7 and use play actions or pre-ball motion and stuff like that to kind of create a little bit of a confusion or get you guys kind of thinking the wrong way. I think that's going to be key for us because I do think you guys have a really, really good front 7.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that the misdirection and the motion will probably stump some of our safeties and cornerbacks too, except for Sauce. I feel like the secondary strategy is for Sauce. I feel like Coleman has looked really good. He showed flashes last year, and he had a great game in week 1 against Baltimore. I would say Sauce needs to shadow him and kind of neutralize him like he did to DK Metcalf in week 1, and then just the other blend of Cisco and Stevens and I forget who else we have at safety. Tony Adams needs to figure out a way to cover Shakir and Kincaid and the other Bills.
Yeah. One of the things that the Bills do a lot is use James Cook and Ty Johnson as receiving backs, coming out of the backfield. How do you feel that does again? Like, at least for us, we feel confident in our like Matt Milano and Terrell Bernard to kind of cover those guys coming out of the backfield. Like, what's your confidence level in your linebackers in their ability to do that?
Yeah, so I'm not super confident. So the main backers that we have, like mostly everybody, is Quincy Williams, who he's like side to side guy. Like he just can keep up with almost anybody. He's super fast and aggressive. Him, I have confidence in that he can like cover like a tight end running across the middle of the field, or something like that. But Sherwood, I'm a little bit less confident about. I feel like he's better. I feel like he's a downgrade compared to Mosley, who was our guy for the last couple of years. Yeah, I feel like there might see a lot of up like across the middle throws where the linebackers kind of get beat by Kincaid or Knox or whoever it may be. I feel like that might be a potential weak spot.
Yeah. Okay. We've seen it as Bills fans watching all of our playoff games against the Kansas City Chiefs, and it always feels like it comes down to one play, and then boom, Patrick Mahomes runs. You finally forced him into a 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 9, and Patrick Mahomes runs for 15 yards.
Yeah.
So what is kind of the challenges, or like as a fan? Like as a team, what are the challenges? But as a fan, what are kind of the frustrating parts of going up against a Josh Allen?
I mean, I think that's exactly kind of like what Patrick Mahomes does to you guys. I feel like Josh Allen does to mostly every other team consistently. And I just feel like the hardest part about stopping Josh Allen is that you can make him look pedestrian for 3 quarters like the Ravens did. And like the Ravens were pretty dominant through 3 quarters of that game in week 1. And then he can just explode at any time and just, become like this man on a mission where like he's not going to miss one throw. Like he threw for 251 yards in the 4th quarter last week, which was more than 21 quarterbacks had their whole game in week 1, which is insane to me. Like that's more yards than Justin Fields had all day. And he's just like, he is a game changer on offense. And if the throws aren't working, then he can, he'll run it up the middle. He's a tremendous human being. Like he'll steamroll people. He'll do whatever it takes to score points. And that's, very difficult to stop for any team.
Yeah. I think that's one of our biggest strengths. I think we had it last year, and I think we only got better at it this year, is having five guys who can all make plays. We'll have Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid, James Cook. These are all guys who are going to see the ball for sure. And if you do drop a perfect play to and you have all of them in coverage, and then the last guy that or the guy who has the ball in his hand is Josh Allen, and he can make people miss, and he can make big plays for sure. So it's, for me as a Bills fan in particular, it's like, we have confidence in that. Like, even if you guys have the perfect play drawn up against us, we're still going to find a way to get it done as move the ball as we need to do it.
Yeah. And that's the toughest part, is that you can play the exact game you're looking to play, and he'll still make you pay for it one way or another. Like he'll hit a crazy throw in a really tight spot that's perfectly covered, or he'll just take it and run it and run over a linebacker to get the first down. Like it's crazy. Like he won MVP last year for a reason. Like it was deserved, and I'm shocked that the Bills haven't gotten over the Chiefs hump yet. Like I feel like Josh Allen is so good. Like I feel like they should have a Super Bowl by now, but they just keep running into Mahomes every year.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so if you were to look at the AFC East, I think we both agree that Miami is the worst team in the division.
Yeah.
I think we would both agree that the Bills are the best team in the division.
Yep.
How do you see it coming down between you guys and the Patriots? And they kind of didn't really look that great in week one. So where do you think how do you rank the teams in the AFC East?
Yeah. I mean, I think if the Jets have any sort of semblance of the way they played in week one, and the offense is like as electric as it seems, and they can be a consistent, high scoring threat, I think that the defense can, figure it out. I feel like they're playing Buffalo this week, Tampa Bay next week. That's a brutal stretch. I feel like if we can continue to improve, I could see us coming in second place. That might just be beginning of season optimism. But
nothing better than a overreaction.
Yeah, exactly. Especially coming off a loss. But New England, I mean, I don't know what to think of them. A lot of people are very high on Drake May. I mean, and he looked okay in week one. I mean, but they couldn't score any points against Las Vegas. So I feel like losing to the Raiders is not a good look if you're, this team that they had week one to the Raiders, who everyone kind of thought was going to be not a good team. I think that kind of speaks for itself. Yeah.
Okay. So more specifically for the game today. Okay, so if the Jets are going to win, who's the offensive X factor and who's a defensive X factor, and then I'll give you mine for the Bills.
Okay. So for offense, so when I think of X factor, I think of someone who you're not necessarily expecting to, be the difference in the game, but ends up being it. So like we have our guys who are supposed to be good, but for the offense, I'm going to go with Braylon Allen. He had 6 rushes for 9 yards and a touchdown against Pittsburgh. So he was, kept in check, but I feel like the Jets have big plans for him. Even if Breece Hall is the lead back, like he's a much bigger running back than Breece Hall. Like he's the guy that, you want to, out there to get you first downs and to, potentially break off a long run. So I could, if the Jets want to win, I could see him breaking off a run just by, going right up the middle and breaking away for a touchdown. I think that we need him to be better if we're going to, especially beat Buffalo, but just winning games in general.
Yeah.
And then on defense, I'm going to go with Jermaine Johnson. So I don't think he ended up getting a sack in week one, but he looked good. Like his Achilles looked fully healed. Obviously on the other side, Will McDonald got 2 sacks. I feel like Jermaine Johnson, he's going to continue to get comfortable as he's returned from this injury, and I feel like if the Jets are to win, like I said, they need to make Josh Allen uncomfortable, and I think that would mean at least a sack for him today, or a couple of hurry ups and pressures.
Mm-hmm. Okay, right on. How do you think the injury to Ed Oliver kind of helps your team? Obviously, it's going to be a pain for us because we saw what he can do against the Ravens there yesterday. But do you think like part of your game plan should be to kind of exploit that we don't have our starting defensive tackle in there?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that they should, definitely test it. The first couple drives, have a couple designed runs right up the middle, and just see if whoever's there in place of him, if the linebackers have to step up. See if they can, stop Breece or stop Braylon. And if not, then that might be something that they exploit all game until they adjust. So yeah, I definitely think that, Ed Oliver's a huge loss. I saw that the other day. I was, that's the,
we got a quick little fantasy question here for you. I got Dak Bo in fantasy. Do I pick up Fields instead this week?
Yeah, you should. I mean, especially for fantasy, Fields might not throw for 400 yards like Josh Allen did in week 1, but he was a top quarterback for fantasy last week. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. I think he had almost 50 rushing yards. So like those count for more than a passing touchdown does in fantasy. So I just think that the fact that, he looks just as good as he did in Chicago and Pittsburgh using his legs to, get points. I think maybe he's not a top quarterback in football, but I think that makes him a top fantasy option.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. Okay, so for me, for my X factors, I kind of looked at it as like, obviously we have Josh Allen, James Cook, and Keon Coleman. Those are our guys. But also, who do I want to have kind of break out and have kind of quote unquote his first game of the season? And so for me, I'm looking at Khalil Shakir. He wasn't really involved that much in the offense in week 1. I think Keon Coleman, Joshua Palmer on the outside creates a lot of space in the middle where Khalil can get into his, he has that connection with Allen of when Allen is scrambling or, he's rolling out to his right, and Khalil can kind of sit there and just be that target for him. So I think we need a big game from Khalil Shakir on the offensive side of the ball. I think we're going to be, like I said, trying to avoid that front 7 that you guys have, and I think we're going to be passing the ball a lot. So I think that kind of creates the perfect storm for Khalil Shakir to have a huge impact on this game. And I think ultimately if we want to be moving the ball a lot, we're going to be relying on him on converting on those third downs that may pop up. Defensively, I'm kind of torn because I think we need a big game from Greg Rousseau. Similar to you guys, we need to disrupt Fields' throwing. We need someone in the backfield to kind of tackle the runner before, because once Breece Hall or Braylon Allen, once they kind of get ahead of steam and they're kind of running downhill, they're hard to stop for sure. So we need to get in the backfield and kind of stop them from getting there. But then I also think that Christian Benford, similar to how you guys are with Sauce, I think we need to have him just stay on Garrett Wilson all game and, kind of try and eliminate that one portion of your offense so that we can really just focus in on stopping the run. And, that'll allow us to kind of load the box. And if we can get good coverage from Christian Benford against a Garrett Wilson, I feel like then that kind of frees up everybody else to be just kind of focusing in on stopping the run and selling out to stop the run. Okay, so we're about half an hour from kickoff. So do you have any? I have to be. I'll say I need about half an hour before the game starts. I got a little, some pregame superstitions there. Do you have anything like that you do before a game?
Not really. Just kind of making sure that I can get it on my TV. No issues, and just making sure that all errands are done and everything like that. So I can just sit down and focus primarily on the game for 3 hours.
Yeah, no, I do. have a ham and cheese sandwich about half an hour, 15 minutes before the game. And it usually works out well for us. So, and then obviously get my Bills gear on and, put the kids down for a nap so I can have the 3 hours uninterrupted. And so what is your score prediction? How do you see this game playing out? And yeah, what do you think of this? How do you think this game goes? Well,
how I think it goes and how I want it to go are two different things. If as optimistic as I can possibly be, my score prediction would be a narrow Jets win where they escape, kind of like they have in the past with the Bills. So I'm not gonna predict a Bills win on stream. So I'll predict like a 27-23 win or something where, they go back and forth for a little bit, and then I would say the Jets need to be the ones to score last and not give Allen the opportunity to kind of win the game. So
yeah.
I'll say it'll go like that. How it's actually going to go, will probably be much different, but that's I got to predict with my heart on this one.
Right on. I'm also predicting with my heart as well. I got burned last time. Last week I predicted with my head, and I predicted the Baltimore Ravens to win the game, and the Buffalo Bills made me look like an idiot and not a true Bills fan. So I promise I'll never do that again. But I have it 32-24 Jets. I think
Jets.
I think. Oh, sorry, no, Buffalo. Sorry, sorry.
I knew what you meant.
But yeah, 32-24 for Buffalo. I think like you said, it's going to be hard to stop our offense. I do think your offense moves the ball and is able to put up a few points, but I think ultimately we'll be able to pull out the win this week and move on to 2-0.
Yep. Yeah, sounds good.
All righty, man. I appreciate you coming on. It's always fun. Divisional games are always fun. So normally I like to say, best of luck to you, but not in this case because we're going for the Bills this week. But
yep.
I appreciate you coming on. Tell them again where they can find you and all that good stuff and what you got going on, and then we'll sign off.
Yeah. So, once again, you can find me on X and YouTube at Hate First Sports. In terms of what I got going on, you'll see me tweeting during especially Jets games, but mostly just football related tweets in general. Mostly venting, but hopefully we have some happy tweets today. But yeah. And then like I said, trying to be more involved on streams and starting to plan stuff for the YouTube channel. So I guess stay tuned for that as well in the coming weeks, months.
Awesome, man. We'll definitely have you back on before the next matchup as well, and we'll do it all again.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks again for having me on.
All right, man. We'll see you.
All right.
Bye.
The Mafia Members Podcast.